Look at rural India in the mid-20th century. Dust, deep ruts, and steep inclines made traveling punishing on both the driver and the machine. In 1945, the company that would conquer these roads wasn't building cars at all. Mohammed and Mahindra was a modest steel trading business. To enter the automotive world, they took a pragmatic approach. They assembled rugged Jeeps with heavy-duty leaf springs, built to handle brutal conditions. Decades of putting these tough vehicles onto the worst terrain forged a specific brand identity. If the road was impassable, a Mahindra vehicle would survive it. This intense local respect for their durability was profitable, but it initially limited the company's growth. They were seen purely as assemblers, rather than innovators capable of designing their own vehicles. By the early 2000s, the Indian consumer market was expanding rapidly, and the roads were suddenly filling with expensive, highly polished SUVs imported from foreign manufacturers. To survive in this changing economy, Mahindra decided to commit to an untested, multi-million-dollar investment. They set out to engineer their own affordable, homegrown Indian SUV entirely from scratch. The industry was skeptical. A company famous only for bolting together basic rural farm equipment now had to design a modern, aerodynamically styled vehicle capable of competing against global brands. What they built to solve this problem became an engineering project that would eventually expand their market reach into dozens of international territories. In 2002, Mahindra revealed the original Scorpio. It arrived as a disruptive presence in the Indian automotive market. This 3D diagram compares the Scorpio's dimensions against typical cars. Notice the tall stance and commanding grille. Moving to drivetrain data, engineers prioritized survival, installing a diesel engine tuned for high low-end torque and heavy load capacity. Because it was incredibly durable and visually intimidating, it was immediately adopted for rural political convoys, regional leaders, and police forces across the country. By combining a towering physical presence with an unbreakable drivetrain, an obscure utility brand had successfully manufactured a national status symbol. Over the next decade, consumer tastes matured and competing manufacturers introduced more comfortable urban vehicles. Mahindra had to modernize the Scorpio to meet these expectations. In 2014, they overhauled the exterior, adding sleek projector headlamps, integrated LED daytime running lights, and sharper aerodynamic body lines. Inside the cabin, they replaced the simple hard plastics with soft-touch materials, adding touchscreen infotainment screens and digital displays. Under the hood, engineers refined the diesel power plant for a smoother delivery of torque and retuned the suspension systems to absorb high-speed bumps. These upgrades meant the vehicle was no longer restricted to dusty village roads. The 2014 Scorpio became a capable, comfortable machine for long-distance cruising across India's expanding highway network. In 2022, Mahindra scrapped the existing platform to build the Scorpio-N from zero, abandoning old boxy aesthetics in favor of a globally competitive design. They introduced muscular sweeping lines, large C-shaped running lights, and premium alloy wheels. This split screen visualizes the technical leap. Older models relied on vibrating diesels. The Scorpio-N introduced smooth turbo engines and advanced driver assistance systems to actively prevent collisions. Furthermore, engineers lowered the center of gravity, drastically improving ride stability. By successfully integrating active crash avoidance tech with a stable ride, the Scorpio-N proved Mahindra had mastered the engineering required to compete with premium international SUVs. But this technological leap introduced a strategic dilemma. By making the Scorpio-N so advanced and polished, Mahindra risked pushing away the rural leaders and political operators who specifically wanted that raw, intimidating utility. To solve this, Mahindra executed an unusual strategy. They continued producing the old-school rugged design, rebranding it as the Scorpio Classic, and sold it right alongside the advanced Scorpio-N. Maintaining two distinct versions allowed the company to capture lucrative new urban and international buyers without abandoning the authoritative image that initially built their reputation. Today, Mahindra's position in the automotive industry is far removed from assembling simple dirt road vehicles for other companies. The structural and aerodynamic lessons they learned by refining the Scorpio allowed them to develop a diverse portfolio of 8 distinct lifestyle vehicles, like the Thar and the XUV series. Now, their manufacturing footprint includes highly automated assembly lines where complex chassis systems are suspended overhead, rapidly producing precision-engineered cars for export to over 30 countries. The Scorpio's decades of engineering iteration provided the technical framework Mahindra used to scale from a regional steel trader into an automaker with